Welcome, everybody. We're really grateful to be here today. I'm just going to spend a few minutes and kind of talk a little bit about how the Ellen Meadows Prosthetic Hand Foundation came to be. And part of the important things of the Ellen Meadows Prosthetic Hand is, in fact, a toothbrush, which really surprises people. And inside the hand, there are these digits that have a really soft rubber grip on the inside in order to hold things. And the way that my company, which I used to own, a plastics company, we actually designed this technology of these rubber bumps on the toothbrushes that we see today. And so the man that invented the hand, he came to my company and asked me if we could put those little rubber bumps on the insides of the hand that he had invented. And so we asked him to tell us more about the hand, and he told us that sadly he had had a daughter who was killed years ago in an automobile accident, and instead of being an angry person, he wanted to do something in memory of his daughter. His daughter's name was Ellen, and so the Ellen Meadows Prosthetic Hand Foundation was part of how that became the name that we use. And the hand is called the LN-4. And so LN is short for Ellen. And so we had a session where we said, how do we make some of these hands in the very beginning? And we made a dozen prototypes. And my wife and I took them to Vietnam in 2005. And I cannot say that we had success. In fact, maybe I would even say it borderlined on failure. And the reason that we had problems was the hand was not the right color. The hand didn't work properly. It didn't have adequate springs. And also it was very difficult to strap it onto the person's arm. So these dozen prototypes we put out there. Oh, and also we couldn't find recipients. And we thought for sure we'd have no problems finding recipients, but that was not in fact the case. So we came back home a little discouraged, a little sad, but still in our hearts, we still felt that there was a value in being able to do this. So one of the things we learned after we came back was that Ernie, the man who had invented the hand, who had done it in his daughter's memory, had read a book by Queen Noor of Jordan and learned about all the landmine victims in the world. So this hand was supposed to be primarily for those people who were landmine victims. But as it turns out, there's a lot of other people from a lot of different reasons as to why they also need a hand. So my wife and I took these dozen prototypes to Vietnam. We had lack of success. We came back. We made about 30 changes to the hand. And then 6 months later, still in 2005, we went to Kenya and Uganda and sent a team to Tanzania. During that trip, we put on 75 hands. And we thought, wow, 75 hands, that's amazing. And we came back home and we said, we need to follow up with those people. So 6 months after that, we sent a team back to those 3 countries, and they were able to locate about 50 of those 75 people. And every single person, every single day was still using the hand. And that was a milestone for us as an organization. So we created the foundation, the Ellen Meadows Prosthetic Hand Foundation, and today we now have distributed over 60,000 hands in 80 countries. And for the benefit of someone who just joined us, so now we have 60,000 hands in 80 countries, but we also know through the World Health Organization that there are about 6.5 million people who are amputees from below the elbow, and another 3.5 to 5 million people who are amputees above the elbow. So so even though we're proud and excited to do 60,000 hands, we still have a long way to go. And this is one of those things that we put on our task list that I've joked about for years that we will never be able to check it off and say we've completed this task, because the world has many people who are amputees, and we are committed to being able to help them. Every single person who receives a hand pays nothing for that hand. The hands are absolutely free. We have individual donors, we have corporate partners, which Jordan will talk about a little bit later, and we have a number of other corporate partners. We work with non-governmental organizations. We work with governmental organizations. We've worked across all religious categories and backgrounds and ethnicities. And well, as you can imagine, with 80 countries, you're hard-pressed to name a country that we have not yet been able to distribute hands in. But every country is big. So if we say that we have hands in India, well, India is a really big country. So it's not necessarily practical for someone to be able to say, okay, well, we have hands all throughout India. That would not be accurate, because even 200 or 300 kilometers away, it may be nearly impossible for someone to get there. So we are hoping to work more and more closely with Fab Labs across the world, which we'll tell you about in a little bit. So at this point, I think I would like to introduce Daniela Valoria. Daniela was our moderator last year and is now a fantastic ambassador and representative of the Meadows Prosthetic Hand Foundation. And it's always a pleasure to see you and to know that you're there helping us out, Daniela. So thank you and welcome.
Thanks. I'm going to share my screen right now in a minute. First of all, thank you for the invitation to be with you. Our relationship with the LN-4 Hand Prosthetic Hand Foundation began last year during the Fab Live, the same global Fab Labs meeting. So I was a moderator, and Michael was talking about the prosthetic delivery program. So we basically were admitted on 2020. And after we were official ambassadors, the foundation sent us the first 2 prostheses, and a small one and a large one. And these prostheses came to Venezuela like mid-September, November, and therefore we make a decision to start like officially the program in Venezuela on February. On February 14 of 2001, this year, for the Day of Love and Friendship, to give like a beyond meaning that for a commercial date. So we want to make it like more special. Many people were interested in our activities, in these donation activities, and we start to receive messages from doctors, from dermatologists, from organizations who work with donations, and people who were like really interested in help us to begin this labor. And after that, we started the process to ask them their names. Again, we get in touch with the people. If they are in the capital, because we are in Caracas, we arrange a meeting in the Fab Lab, and then we tell them like what are the requirements they need for the fitting. If they are in Caracas, as I said before, we train in the lab. And if they are in another state, we make an online arrangement, and then we do like all the process online. We training them, we explain them one by one our recipients, and we give them a class like for around 2 hours. And by now, we already make donations to 10 states in Venezuela, and that includes 3 children and 13 adults. So by now, we think the activities we're doing in Venezuela are really, really great. And every day we get new people who are interested to be part of the program, like doctors who want to work with us because they have the patients, so they help us to the people know more about the program. Our recent activities were very important for us. We achieved a partnership with the Ministry of the Sports in Venezuela, the Institute of the Sports in Venezuela, and the Paralympic Committee in Venezuela. So this was our recent achievement. We were able to donate to three people who are selected to the Olympics. These three Paralympic athletes are going to be to Tokyo. Are going to Tokyo soon in 2 weeks. And this was a very special activity because I know one of the directors of the National Sport Institute of Venezuela, and we just talking about, hey, we have these hands. So did you know a few athletes that will be interested in receive the hands? And he helped me to organize all the events, and we were to the institute, and these three athletes were interested in receive the hands, and was a really amazing activity. They were so happy to have the hands. We teach them how to use it. We feed in. We normally, when we do the activities, we ensure that every recipient have materials to work with the hand. So we use like pens, we use these sheet papers, we use forks and spoons. So every participant can be able to really test the hand and feel more comfortable with the hand. So this one is one of the recipients. His name is Naivis Morillos. He's a javelin athlete, and the institute told us that she's going to be probably one of the biggest athletes, the Paralympic athletes who have Venezuela right now, and they told us that she probably have a high possibility to win one of the medals. So we are like very excited for her. We have another athlete, Paola Garcia. She makes a long jump, and she's one of the other classifying for Tokyo. And then we have Kennedy Mendoza. He already practiced javelin. He's still waiting for going to Tokyo. We don't know if he's going, but he's a great athlete, Paralympic athlete too. And I want to finish this presentation with this picture, because this activity was very special for us, because we work with a lot of passion, like in every fitting event that we have, and this was a huge achievement for us. So thank you.
You know, Danielle is an excellent example of how we want Fab Labs to be part of this process. We are not looking at each of the individual Fab Labs of doing, 1,000 hands or anything like that. Certainly, if they did, that'd be fantastic. But there's about 2,500 Fab Labs in about 50 different developing countries, and imagine if each one of those labs did 10 hands. That's 25,000 hands. Then that would get out specifically as a result of that. So I want to show you, if you order, but if you request hands, what happens is they come in a pouch, something similar to this, where they're all personally decorated, and it's got little graphics on it. They're all very custom and different. And because it's very important that when we provide someone with a hand, we're actually presenting them with a gift. We are not saying, hey, you know, here's a free thing to help you out. We're saying, you know, we would like to give you this so that you can use it to help with your day-to-day tasks. We have two sizes of hands. We have one size is we call it regular, and then we have another size which we call large. We do not call them children and adult. We call them regular and large. And the reason for that is because sometimes a small or petite adult, the right hand for them is the smaller one. So if we were to call it a child-sized hand, then that would not be well received. And similarly, on the large hand, if we call it an adult hand, a child or a large child, or you know, a teenager, or even or their caretaker perhaps would not want that person to have a hand that would be for an adult. So again, we call them regular and large. So I want to show you how the hand works. And one of the things I like to do is, I'm left-handed, okay? So I'm just going to put a sock on my hand. It's a clean sock, of course. And I'm going to do that to prevent me from using my dominant hand to do just a couple of tasks that I'm going to show you, okay? So earlier, I had shown you the toothbrush, right? So with my non-dominant hand, I actually am not as proficient using the toothbrush as I would be with my dominant hand. Similarly, if I were to wash dishes or wash a car or wash windows, I just have a little bit of a difficult time holding it and using it, especially if I don't have another hand to sort of help me, you know, kind of brace up against it. And then finally, I dropped my ink pen. One moment, please. The biggest and most profound thing is if a person has lost their dominant hand is in being able to write. And while sometimes we are able to learn how to write with our non-dominant hand, we are never as proficient as we are or as we were when we had our dominant hand available to us. So I'm going to tell you a few things about the hand at this point. So one of the things is there's a strap on here that straps on just above the elbow right here. We have two little bones, and the strap goes just above those bones, and then it runs down along the arm, and then the hand actually goes onto the polite terminology, as we call this, the residual limb. And that concludes my portion of the presentation at this time.
Michael, thank you so much for that demonstration of the presentation. What I want to show you guys is a glimpse as to how it is actually designed and going to be manufactured. So everything that you've seen has been the original design of the LN-4 hand. And what we are currently working on is a new design, an updated design that very much holds true a lot of the similar functionalities, the simplicity, the ability to mass produce for an affordable rate so that we can distribute all these hands for free. This, of course, is a nonprofit foundation that's doing so much great work worldwide. So what I would like to show you is kind of where we've come from starting just a year and a half ago and where we're headed with this redesign. So one second as I share my screen.
You know, we were presented with this really amazing intersection of opportunities ahead of 3D Experience World, the idea to do a hackathon, the idea of telling a story that was bigger than all of us and that could contribute to a global cause. And all of that kind of came together with this idea for this project.
Let's take a look at what has been happening. please welcome from Meadows Foundation, Michael Mendoza.
Over the last few days, we had the hackathon, of course, and some of you have been participating in that and been able to redesign the next version of our hand. Our foundation started 15 years ago, and we have no paid staff. We're 100% volunteer, and we injection mold these components, and we've done 55,000 hands in 80 countries. No one's ever paid a dime for any one of them.
The hackathon we saw in the video, there was these new designs. You want to tell us a little bit more?
I have the winner right here in my pocket. The winning team is Team 3, Dexter 3. Thank you all so much.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Introducing the Dexter 3. It's a functional, simple, lifelike mechanical prosthetic hand. It builds on the functionality of its predecessor, the LN-4. It can gently pinch or firmly grip. It's an ambidextrous design that is purely mechanical. It has very few plastic custom components. It can be assembled in a left or right hand configuration using common hardware with nothing more than a screwdriver. And so that's why, in general, we believe that the Dexter 3 strikes a healthy balance between functionality, simplicity in manufacturing, and that ability to bring a human connection back to the life of those who have lacked it.
This is using a cam gear mechanism. So all you have to do is push sideways on the button. It releases this cam, releases the gear, and allows the finger to then spring back up into position.
Fast forward to just under a year later, we're on the verge of, I think, presenting what could be a pretty amazing evolution to the design and hopefully get that into the hands of many people moving forward.
The thing about traveling to other countries, I tell people that when you're walking on the tarmac to get on the airplane to go do this, look back at the lobby and imagine yourself sitting there and wave goodbye to yourself, because you do not come back the same person.
When you did your presentation, I remember we were very impressed with the functionality. I think that was your goal at the beginning. That was the factor, I think, that made it so clear that this was going to be the model that we thought would be good. But the concern that we had is exactly the thing that you addressed. It's so critical for it to look like a natural hand. And so all of these efforts, I think, are so wonderful. So I'm excited not only for its functionality, but its appearance. Just really looks great.
I just got a request from somebody who got a hand as a child and been using it for the last 15 years and grew out of it and wondered if he could have a larger one. And that's pretty amazing to think of. That hand lasted for over a decade, and of course we'll send him another one.
The thing is mind-blowing. I can't wait. When do we get them? This is amazing. Water seeks its own level. There's a reason why there's just a good dynamic group of positive people here. We found each other, and let's change the world. I have no doubt we're going to. So many lives are going to be changed by what you're doing. No question. No question. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So what you just saw there was a brief history of what has happened since the 3D Experience World, our annual conference that we host each year. 3D Experience World 2020 is when a hackathon was hosted. I was part of one of the teams that was competing, and our design won the competition. And since then, we have been working to develop the second version of this remarkable hand that does so much and helps so many across the world. I should introduce myself. My name is Jordan Tadic. I am with Dassault System SolidWorks. And so I have been helping a full team. It's not me at all, just by myself. There are plenty of other designers from all over the place that have been contributing to this new design. It's very exciting. And it, like I said, it holds true exactly what the current hand model is. We're just tweaking a few areas here and there. So I'm excited about that. And I wanted to maybe leave a little bit of inspiration for everyone that's watching to know that you could get involved as well. Not only with this project, you know, Daniela did a great job of talking about how she became an ambassador for the Ellen Meadows Foundation, helping to distribute these in Venezuela. You too can become an ambassador. As you saw there, the LN-4 handproject.org is where you can go to learn more about that. Learn more at solidworks.com/maker. Again, for just $99 a year, you can access all of this software to start your own project. And of course, we want to point out that you can go to ln4handproject.org to become an ambassador as well. So there's so many ways to get involved. We hope that you do. And that concludes my little section.
I will start by introducing myself. I'm Carissa Rystrom, and I work with the Ellen Meadows Prosthetic Hand Foundation. Just as a slight new piece of information from that video, thank you, Jordan, for everything you just shared. We now have one part-time person working for the foundation, which is myself, but still it is very largely volunteer run and organized. And my role there is the ambassador liaison. And essentially what that means is that I coordinate from the headquarters office within San Francisco and Northern California, and we coordinate with ambassadors and ambassador organizations all across the world. And I'm excited to just share a little bit about what that process looks like. I know Jordan just gave his plea for signing up as a LN-4 ambassador, and I could not echo more what he's saying. The choices are signing up as an ambassador, which is basically saying, I personally, as an individual, am interested in volunteering with this organization. Or you can sign up as an ambassador organization, and that is saying, I represent an organization, and that can be 5 people in your classroom setting, all the way up to hundreds of people. If you, maybe your business is interested in partnering where you work, or your whole university, or very large partners. So we don't have a requirement as to how big an ambassador organization needs to be. We just kind of say that that's part of the whole commitment, saying that you're all on board. And as an ambassador, there's a couple of ways that you would support the organization. Most ambassadors either help us distribute prosthetic hands, or they actually help us complete the fittings of the prosthetic hands upon hand recipients. Many people that want to help, but maybe live in areas where they don't have regular access to people who have limb loss, would be more on the ability to distribute. Perhaps they know contacts in other countries where they'd say, oh, I actually know a doctor down in Haiti. Here's their contact information. You should reach out to them in that hospital, and maybe they can start receiving hands. That's an excellent form of being an ambassador, as an individual or as an organization. The fitting hands usually means that you either travel to a country repeatedly, or you have a presence there, or you live there full time. And we send you hands. We might send them to you in the United States, and then you fly with them, or to a different country and you fly with them, or we'll just send them directly to the country. That obviously is a wonderful form of being an ambassador as well, because you can fit the hand and then continue to follow up with hand recipients. Some of them continue to live right in that area and they're easy to reach again. Others might be a one-time contact. And that's the beauty of this hand, is that it is designed to be simple and functional and very low maintenance. So people that may not have regular access or live in super remote areas, they don't need to continue to come down to a hospital to have a physician continue to tweak it. And that's enormous power, especially for people who are very low income or in remote places in the world who don't have the ability to do that. Another way to partner that is possible is just through, well, we have an account with Amazon Smile. So if you were to choose a charity to support, you could choose the Ellen Meadows Prosthetic Hand Foundation. And that's great. A percentage of your purchases go right to us. And we're so thankful when people select our charity when they shop through Amazon. And of course, we have a donate page, and we're always thankful for any funds coming in because we are directly producing the prosthetic hands themselves, and we cover the shipping costs so that these ambassadors and ultimately the hand recipients can receive these products free of charge, and they can continue to be given as a gift. And here's the last little bit, and you can just see it more clearly all in one spot of what it looks like to join. So you, as Jordan mentioned, you can just go to LN4handproject.org, click the contact page, and that will come directly to me. And I'll be able to communicate with you further. Or if you know right away you'd like to sign up for an ambassador role, either as an individual or as an organization, you can just do LN4hand.org, and that will take you to our LN4 ambassador portal, and you can begin signing up right there, and we will follow up with you. We thank you so much for your support, and we're excited for the future. We're excited for the new hand, and it's really an honor to be a part of this workshop.
Have you looked at your hands lately and thought about what they do? Our hands help us so much, and today you used your hands to give hope, to give life, and to do something extraordinary for someone else.